everyone, how's it going? We have another treat for you guys today on today's episode of PlanSuccess. We have Michael Jahn, and I briefly was having him describe how to pronounce his last name because it's spelled Jahn and say Jahn. He said, no, it's yawn, like you're yawning. So I got it. Welcome, Michael.
Well, it's very nice to be here.
So Michael is is an integral part of PressWise. And as you know, we like spotlighting all the new partners that are part of the ecosystem of PlanProphet. PressWise is one of the latest integrations MISs that we've done into PlanProphet. So today I'm going to have a quick conversation with Michael about his journey and then a little bit about PressWise and their customers, and the challenges that he sees and opportunities, etc. You guys know the deal. So Michael, let's start with you telling us how long have you been part of PressWise and what is your current role?
Okay, I started with PressWise, I think 2010. I have always been on the developer side, kind of an implementation or an evangelist, if you will, about technology. A lot of people are afraid of change, right? So this is the whole thing about storefronts and automated, workflows is always a little scary. Everybody wants to touch everything, but you can't do things very efficiently that way. So PressWise was developed inside of a print shop. So there's this gentleman named Eric Wolk, and he had a problem. He was in accounting, and everybody would do a quote, but they do it differently. And the numbers never were the same. And it just was crazy. So he really had to kind of protect the company, if you will, from people just going off and doing whatever they felt they wanted to do to get a job. So there had to be some rules, some estimating, some paper costs, some press costs. So it was designed really to protect the company from the salespeople. So the salespeople had to learn to use this tool to quickly and automatically get pricing that was fixed and based. Now, of course, there's a way to do discounts and things like that. But the whole point is there's so many things that you might not remember, especially if you're a new customer service rep. You might forget that, hey, when they pick 130-pound stock, it's got to be scored before it folds or else you'll get cracks. Things, making things kind of simplified. That's really what PressWise is about.
And how long ago was PressWise founded, roughly? Was it in the 90s?
I'm going to say 2002, maybe. It was a printing plant in Santa Rosa, California.
Okay.
And then they just kind of, when you're a printing company and you're trying to be a software company, it's really hard to do, right? So, being a software company is a different animal altogether, and, you got to scale out. So, yeah, it happened that he just, for purposes that are obvious now, right? We all know a cloud is so much simpler because you don't have to manage the hardware. You just use it in a browser. So
right. And then your day-to-day today in PressWise, what does Michael do 75% of your time? Is doing what?
I will say 50% of my time, I'm helping people. They'll send me a spreadsheet or they'll send me pricing and say, this is the way we're doing it now. Because obviously, just because you change the system, you can't suddenly, the prices are going to be crazy different, right? So that 50% of my time is helping them understand how to set up the press so it prices out the way it's supposed to.
So you help people transform what they're doing right now with a hand, or maybe an older MIS that they phased out. You're trying to find a way to convert that into a way that makes sense with PressWise so they can actually use the product correctly. Right. In essence, let's call it more adoption or support role. That's where you mostly help.
Implementation is really the key.
Implementation.
The other half of it is with our more, a lot of times we'll get a customer who out of nowhere will say, one of my print customers wants to send me data orders. They don't want, they've got a storefront system that they want to talk to our system, and our system doesn't listen. So we have an API that, obviously we have an API with you guys that, let computers talk to computers. So a lot of ordering systems, setting up what we call an order source or a way for that computer to send XML, CXML, or JSON and just slurp it in, if you will. The orders come in that way.
Sometimes I question, how easy or difficult it is for our customers to trust the data and trust the integrations. I find ourselves a lot all the time having the same discussions. If a machine could do it, it may take a little time getting it trained to do it, but then we should rely on that. And I understand that PressWise is also very much into the whole workflow automation flow of the business. Can you tell me a little bit and speak to me as if I am a seventh grader that doesn't know anything about the world of print?
Okay.
What would you say makes PressWise different? As you may know, we integrate with several MISs, and we always are, as we tell everyone, we're Switzerland in the world of MISs. It's our job to integrate as many as we can and bring our product in the same way, regardless of the MIS we have. But I want to bring our MIS partners an opportunity always in these sessions to tell us how you feel our product is unique in the world of MISs.
Yeah, I would say specifically that we have this integration from a storefront perspective. We have a storefront tool. We also allow other storefronts like Procero, PageDNA. There's a bunch of them out there. I don't know why they all start with P, PTI. But they can talk. They all come in and can inject orders that way. But there's still a lot of things that aren't automated. People pick up the phone. They say, hey, I need some business cards. Can you send me a quote? Well, you've got to punch that out and send an email. So PressWise, being in the cloud, has to connect to all these things like your email server. Oh, you want to pay online? Great. I need to have a credit card gateway. Oh, we're going to ship. Well, I need to have a gateway to FedEx and UPS and USPS. So the interconnectivity is really the key thing that I think we do very well. Recently, when I say recently, like in the last year, we had to become PCI compliant because a couple of our customers were doing business with big companies like Xerox and Microsoft. I mean, doing printing for them. So right. PCI compliance was a big, huge hurdle for us, but we did it. And, something as simple as NCOA. When you're going to ship something, you don't, your customer's in a hurry. Sometimes they type in the wrong zip code, what have you. They're human. So you don't want to print something and ship it to the wrong thing and have it come back because now you got to eat that cost. So, doing address verification is also. So it's all this kind of what we'll call middleware. And this is what I'm excited about PlanProphet is because one of the middleware things we didn't do and we don't do is this CRM part, where people can chase their customers a little bit and say, okay, have you, hey, there's a proof ready. Have you looked at it? Hey, have you paid for this bill? The person needs those kinds of tools to remind them because they've got so much going on. I mean, today, one of the big problems is that how do I make money on a $25 job if I've got 20 people involved touching it? I mean, I'm sorry.
There's no way. Yeah, we tell our clients, you either find a way to fully automate from end to end all the customer interaction, just don't take the job because you're going to be losing money.
That's
absolutely right. That you've got a point there. Why don't we take a quick break and you tell me a little bit about Michael? I always find it amusing when I speak with people that are seasoned, and I don't say seasoned as in old. I say seasoned.
Yeah, I'm 68. Right? Yeah,
seasoned as in experienced, and I'm seasoned too as in experience in the world of print and technology. And I always wonder what got you into this world. Was it software? Was it you were folding jobs? Was it you found a job that you liked? How do you land here?
Oh, it's a crazy story. I was a medical illustrator. I went to school for medical illustration. I was doing, I'd go into surgery.
Medical illustrations?
Yes, that's right.
What is that? Let's just start with that. What is
so I worked at a teaching hospital. I worked at a teaching hospital. I'd go into surgery. They had to publish some procedure. I would take pictures and draw pictures, and they would publish them to say, here's how I do this tetralogy flow, exchange.
So this is how you do a brain transplant, basically. And you would do pictures and drawings and
I did a bunch of as this is, remember, I'm older, so this was back in the day when we had pen and ink, on paper. And then one day I learned PostScript as I had a project that I had to draw something that was going to be blown up really huge. And PostScript got me into computers. And one day I did an output, and this company called Agfa and Gevart out in Belgium, they heard that I was using PDF for print. And they were like, we need a PDF for print guy. Nobody believes in PDF. No, this is back in the 90s. And they kind of slurped me into the software world. But my business title, believe it or not, was PDF evangelist. I mean, I traveled all over the world for this company in Belgium.
Tell people about a portable document file.
Yeah, just so that people would trust that. Because remember, they used to send film around, pieces of film in a box. So digital ads, digital catalogs, that was a huge leap back in the 90s. And that's what I did. But now, just like an ATM
you went
machine,
from working in a hospital environment, helping people with, heart surgeries and how to do procedures, right? Illustrate how to do procedures. And then this company called Apex said, hey, how about you come work with us? We're a print technology or hardware provider.
It's like, yeah,
you're gonna tell people about PDFs. What was it that did it? Was it that you were tired of the same thing over and over? Was it money? What made you make that switch? Because that was
money was a big part of it. But I will tell you, the big issue was when I worked in the printing industry, the real issue was that time frame between when I've decided that for Walmart, Kmart, True Value Hardware, any of these guys that would put out that stuff that falls out of your newspaper on Sunday, all those the Sunday inserts, they would all have a time frame between, hey, are we going to feature Schwinn or Huffy bikes? And that was 8 weeks. So between the time they decided to the time that it actually was in your house, that the whole PDF compressed that, because I didn't have to send film back and forth.
Right.
It was, the whole digital workflow, digital.
And I was curious, how was Agfa monetizing that? Because they didn't own the technology, did they?
No, they licensed it from Adobe. But what Agfa was, and DuPont was, and Fuji was, and Kodak was, is a consumable, right? They would make a consumable, film, plates. That was the, I don't know how to put it. That was the heroin
technology, the direct to plate, right?
They give you the needle, no problem, not a problem. You had to have film, you had to have plates. We still need those today.
So you were evangelizing their customers on a more efficient way to use their technology by way of using PDFs. That's pretty much what it was.
They would pretty much give away the system to make PDF because they wanted a 3-year contract for plates.
Right. Yeah, I get it. And then, how long did you do that for, and when did you start switching into software, the real software? Not
I did that for about 4 years, but then it's kind of like an ATM machine.
Yeah, once you're there, that's
an ATM evangelist, right? Eventually that wears out. Everybody believed in it, everybody uses it.
There's no more evangelizing to do.
There's no reason to run around the world telling people, hey, use PDF. So yeah, I ran out of gas, as they say. So I started looking around for something else to do, and that's when I got involved with software in general. And
then, did you go straight into PressWise, or did you go through a few other companies?
Yeah, I was the hexachrome evangelist at Pantone when they rolled out this 6-color process.
Yeah,
I worked for Infocus for a while as their PDF evangelist, being that we had a workflow that would make PDFs more trustworthy. I don't know if you've ever heard of PDFX, but if you're going to,
but PDF I the other brands you mentioned.
Yeah, there's a PDF-A, there's a PDF Healthcare. That has certain gadgets in it to make sure, there's certain things that are prohibited, certain things that are preserved. So PDFX is just a specialized version of PDF that has certain things that absolutely has to have to be trustworthy in the print world. So,
and then
PDFX now.
The world keep going because, I feel like the vast number of people that I talk to that last longer than 7 or 8 years in the print world, for some bizarre reason, I don't know if it's masochism or what it is, but I have this theory that if you make it in the print industry, it doesn't matter what it is that you're doing. It could be software, it could be your pressman, it could be your designer. But if you made it 7 years consecutively in any way, shape, or form in the print industry, you can't leave. It's like Hotel California. You can't check out, right? So I don't know what it is. And then every time that I speak with people, doesn't matter if it's tech or actual operators, owners happens all the time. How long have you owned your print shop? I'm going on the year number 30 now. congratulations, that's awesome. 30 years, and they go like, I hate it. I don't even know what I do with this anymore. But you've done it for 30 years. There's got to be something about it. And then they reflect back and they go, well, I have put all my kids through college. I've lived a pretty decent life with this world of print. So there's something about this industry that's maybe different than other industries that I too have dived into a little bit, including, I don't know, the healthcare industry or the hospitality industry, where there's a lot of turnover. People go in, they hate it, they go out. Something about print, and you're no exception. You just got drawn into that black hole somehow, and you're still stuck into it, for better or worse, right? If Tony hears me out, I'm gonna have an issue with that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Me a black hole. Well, Tony, by the way, Tony Tarp is the CEO of PressWise. Great guy. So hello if you're watching later. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the team, the people behind the product at PressWise? I know that there's a lot of good guys behind it. I hear all the time praises about your support, your people. What do you think makes it that makes people say good things about you guys before necessarily they say good things about your product? Because I hear that a lot about PressWise.
Yeah, we have an interesting mix of people that all work for printers. I mean, our support people have run a press or done imposition or understand what a spot color is. Every one of our support people have worked in a printing company and have all had horrible support. I mean, we've all lived through that. And that's Ken Brazel, my director. He is like, the most important thing to him as a manager is to make sure that if we get a support ticket come in, that we've responded within 20 minutes. We've got to be sure that they are not stuck. They're not stuck saying, I can't figure this out. So we do a lot of movies. We do a lot of screen captures, make little time and say, okay, here's how you do this. And here's what you might have done wrong.
For that specific client that asked that
for that question, that very, and we've got, a couple guys who are a little bit stronger in certain areas. I'm pretty stronger with the whole API side. We've got Brian, who is really good with the storefront. We've got Raul, who's absolutely killer when it talks about integrating to QuickBooks, because a lot of people bill through QuickBooks. They don't want to bill every job. They just want to do once a month or something. So we've got that team of support. And I would say, without bragging here, that's probably our killer app right there, is because we have great support and we get a lot of thank yous. And of course, the development team, their guys we're a LAMP project. I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but Linux on Apache, PHP.
That's way above my pay grade. If my partner co-founder will be listening, maybe he'll know, but no, that's way above my pay grade.
Yeah, so they and mine too. so it's a project, and it's pretty, it's the implementation tracker. We actually have a tracker where people can log in and say, okay, I got to do this. I got to set up the gateway for FedEx. I got to set up the accounting queue. There's a lot of steps, and the other thing that I would say we do very well is we really understand that if they're not up and running in 6 to 8 weeks, I mean, they're going to get mad every time they have to pay that bill. They don't want to pay that monthly, and
they may cancel, because I suspect they don't sign any agreements with you.
Yeah, it's so we are on it. We almost become pests, if you will. It
is kind of like a win-win situation, right? It benefits the clients that you guys are on their case to get adopted, and it benefits you that they are adopted. So I always find that when a company doesn't care too much about adoption, regardless of the industry, I never understand why that's the case, because it benefits both people. It benefits them because they keep clients forever, and it benefits the client, obviously. So yeah, we try very hard on PlanProphet too. The vast majority of conversations we have with our team are about adoption, about what are customers using, what are they not using, what can we do to help them out, right? That goes even beyond our agenda than even sales. Sales will happen or won't happen. Yeah. It is what it is. But once a sale happens, we want to make sure that people feel taken care of. If we do our fair share and they still feel that the product wasn't right for them, then we respect that. But at least we feel like we gave it our best shot, right?
Right. Same.
Tell me, based on it is more of a gut feeling. Maybe you could use some real stats, but what would you describe as your ideal or perfect or more standard, maybe is the word, PressWise typical user? There's print shops that are specialized in one thing or another, or they're this size or another. What do you feel the average sweet spot is? And I will not accept everyone for an answer, right? Because
Okay,
the
I would
last
say,
the last time I asked
yeah,
this one MIS, they tell me everyone. No.
no,
What's your
no,
sweet spot?
and it's true. It isn't everyone. If you are a 5 employee to 25 employee, that's our sweet spot. When you get into, you got 1,000 employees and you're doing corrugated and palletization and you're doing all sorts of really, big jobs. We're not that guy. We are great for these small, like Sir Speedy's, BCT, Minuteman Press. These guys love us because it really simplifies. It's one place where one person can go in. They can work from home, if they're in sales and they've just got a dashboard.
I would say the average sized print shops in the US, which may have 5 to 20 some employees. Now, are you saying employees in the shop or users using your product? Or you mean
I
employees?
would say no, they probably have more, people in shipping, they're just putting boxes together or somebody's
So when you
running
say 5 to 25, are you referring to 5 to 25 people using PressWise?
users. Yeah.
Users. So let's rephrase that a little bit.
Yeah.
You're saying that, so on average, let's say a shop having 5 people in PressWise, those may be a salesperson, maybe a CSR, maybe you could have a manager of the shop, an accounting person. They may have another 5 or 7 people using your product.
Right.
So if you're watching this session, right, and you've gotten this far, it's because obviously you either, love the conversation or you love technology or you love PressWise or PlanProphet, because I guarantee they're not doing it because of our beautiful faces here. There's certainly no
shiny heads
or a beautiful haircut, right? There's certainly no, what do they call that, clickbait in any one of these videos, right? So if you've gotten this far, based on what you just said, then perhaps it's more like you have 10 employees to maybe 30 or 40 employees total and 5 to 25 users of an actual MIS. It's
right.
More fair, I would say, right?
Yeah. I mean, we do have a couple customers who have lots, like they're way bigger, but they may be just, they're focused on wide format. That's all they do. They just do, big banners and big billboards. That's all they do. And they just have a lot of people doing that because they're national. So there are a few outliers that have, like 500 employees, but that's not really where we live, if you will.
Would you say that PressWise specializes more on one type of printer versus the other? Like, do you guys do more labels or sign or conventional offset or digital than any other type of printing, or a little bit of everything?
I would say almost every one of our printers, our customers, I should say, they have a digital press of some sort, which is why they looked at us in the first place, because they're like, hey, I got a job for 250 business cards. I can't possibly make money if I'm going to sell it for $25. So they want to automate it. So that's usually the first thing they look at us about. But they usually have an offset press, and almost everybody wants to, if you got a customer, like Chuck E. Cheese or something, they want to have a one-stop shop. They don't want to go to 20 different printers. They want to have, and they'll say, oh, we got to get into wide format. So those are the 3 types of presses: offset press, digital presses, and wide format. We don't have a lot of label printers because they have to wind and rewind. Those are web type, narrow web presses.
Right, like the larger, that's not a lot of that. You're not certainly equipped for that.
And it's a whole different type of estimating, because you got to figure out ink coverage, because you're printing like 1 million labels, right? So it's a different animal altogether. But yeah, I'd say, again, they usually have 5 or 6 presses, maybe one offset press. As HP has, and Xerox and Ricoh and all these digital printers are getting way better at, doing larger volumes. People are starting to say, well, I don't want to do plates. I don't want to do ink. I just want to do digital. So we're watching people discontinue and, the offset world. Most of our customers they like digital.
want to go to the wrap-up part of this conversation today, and I want you to know, I think in the future, and this is a very after question. It's not a question about PlanProphet. It's not a question about Michael. It's not a question about PressWise. It's a question about somebody that's seasoned. Again, I'll keep using that word until you get offended by it. Somebody that's seasoned the world of print and the world of technology, and somebody has watched the evolution of print in the last 20 some years, right? Where do you see this industry heading? Not in the next 20, in just the next 3 years. What things do you feel are going to affect our mutual customers in the next 3 years that if you have to guess and gamble, you would say, watch out for these 3 or 4 things that are coming and you better prepare for it? What do you think that those things would be?
I mean, printing, obviously you're going to continue to print. I mean, even as we get rid of digital business cards, or something where you can just put your phone up and go, here's my card. We still have milk. It's still going to come in a carton, right? So we're still going to print. And I see our customers, just like I saw them saying, well, I never did wide format, but now this customer wants wide format. And now I never did label and I never did print on metal. And, they expand that way. But they're also getting involved with saying, well, we're doing embroidery now. We got to do hats. Oh, we're doing screen printing. We're going to print the Bills logo. Here you go. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. So there you go.
Oh, God. Okay.
Let's not go there. No, they're getting into apparel. I mean, these are people who never would have thought that they were into apparel, and they're doing that. And they're also doing websites. I mean, they're going like, well, what kind of press studio? How do I set up pricing for and I go, well, that's an estimating or finishing task. I mean, they're getting more involved with everything, the whole digital world. And that means you got to get coders. I mean, we're finding more and more. I'm meeting a guy who's got more brights than I do when it comes to my customers saying, okay, I'm going to do this with Jason and we're going to automate this. And they're getting very, very technical. So I see printers going in that direction, becoming more involved with
more versatile and all the things that they do. Like, it's no longer, oh, I don't do A, B, or C. It has to be more, hey, I may have to adjust accordingly because we're not getting as many business cards or catalogs. I may as well pivot into maybe textile or maybe signage or white format or things that I may not be doing before. All right.
Installation.
I'm sorry?
Installation. Getting a rigger, you got to go up on a big wall. It's like amazing. I'm watching, and people come and ask us, well, how would I estimate this? How would I set this up? So yeah,
it keeps pushing you as your customer base start producing things. They're like, how do I price this in your product? And it keeps pushing you to get ready for that. Michael, you've been great. I want to end it by giving you an opportunity to say thank you to PressWise customers watching this. It's your opportunity to speak to all 100,000 PressWise users that are watching this right now. And just say something to them, and that'll end it up.
Well, I'll tell you what, implementing PlanProphet is like, it just is a username and password. And it's just a way that the PressWise information gets pulled right into PlanProphet, and you get the same dashboard. You get this wonderful way for you to work with your customers and quotes. I am very excited. You really need to take a look at PlanProphet. If just go to their website, watch the movie, and certainly ask us for help.
Thank you so much, Michael. And I want to take this opportunity, by the way, to thank you guys, on behalf of the entire team of PlanProphet. The guys over at PressWise, all the way from Tony, Joe, and everybody behind the scenes has worked really hard in the last few months to accommodate all of our really pain in the bees requests when it comes to integrating with you guys.
It was pretty
very picky with the information that we get and how much information we get. So you guys have been extremely accommodating. You've been great partners because you really have found that. I really feel that you're doing it to improve the life of your customers, to give your customers every chance they get to be succeeding in the world of print, right? So again, you thank your customers. I want to thank you and the PressWise team for everything you guys have done, and we'll hopefully continue doing to keep improving our relationship in the years to come. So thank you for everyone watching. Thank you, Michael. Have a great day.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.